IVM.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Musafir Stories, India's very own travel podcast, where each week we share the journey of travelers in their own words and relive their experiences with you, our listeners.
Hi guys, welcome to an all-new episode on the Musafir Stories. We're celebrating the festive month of December and the run-up to the new year by partnering with Cambly. Cambly is the only app in India that provides on-demand native English-speaking tutors over video to teach you English one-on-one.
This is a great resource for those who are interested in improving their communication and their conversational skills. You can subscribe to Cambly's monthly or quarterly plans and practice consistently every week. This is especially useful for those who want to be better prepared for interviews, presentations, or even those who are planning to head out abroad for travel or studies. You can access the sessions by logging on to the website, that is www.cambly.com, or by downloading the Cambly app from the App Store or Play Store.
Not only that, listeners of the Musafir Stories can avail an exclusive 32% discount on the quarterly plans by using the promo code TMS32. That's TMS32. We've included all details and the promo code in the show notes section of the podcast as well. So go ahead and grab this offer now and set off on your journey to becoming an excellent communicator.
As for today's episode, we take you to our most favorite place in the world. For home is where the heart is. Get ready for a speed date with Namma Bengaluru. Let's get on to the episode now.
And with that introduction, we would love to welcome Malvika and Vitasta to the Musafir Stories. Hi guys, welcome.
Hey guys, hey Malvika and Vitasta, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. It's our pleasure to have you. And yeah, we're doing a double header today. Usually it's Faiza and me teaming up against one poor guest, one poor traveler. But you guys have the numbers today. Before we get on with the episode and talk a little bit more about travel, right? That's what we try and do every episode on the Musafir Stories. Why don't you guys go ahead and give a little introduction about yourselves?
So I'm Malvika. I'm a content writer and editor at Travel.Earth. I'm from Bangalore. I've lived here most of my life. And what we're going to be talking about today is Bangalore. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Nice.
And, what about Vitasta?
I write content for Travel.Earth and I also work there as a market evangelist. And so Malvika probably introduced me to Bangalore because I'm not from Bangalore originally. So yeah.
Okay, I think that gives us a good combination also. One is from Bangalore and one is becoming from Bangalore. Right? You'll always take a part of Bangalore with you as long as you live here.
I know.
So yeah, I think Malvika did give a little bit of a brief insight into what we're talking about today. It's going to be about Namma Bengaluru or Bangalore as a lot of us fondly call it. And for listeners who don't know this yet, Faiza and I are also from Bangalore. So this episode is very, very special for us too.
I know.
Having lived in Bangalore like most of our lives, one thing I can say is I don't think we will ever be able to do justice to Bangalore in one episode. So this will be a sort of a primer to getting around Bangalore, something you perhaps can do over a weekend if you're visiting from outside, or I've been, as I call it, not fondly, IT slaves in Bangalore, right? If you're just working the whole week and only have the weekend to, and the odd weekend, not every weekend, you only have the odd weekend to get around Bangalore, this is probably something you can do around Bangalore. So it'll be an episode on those lines, probably just a weekend tour around Bangalore, or like we're planning to call it, a speed date with Bangalore, because this is going to be short and sweet. I can promise you that. So having said that, I'd like to give it over to you, Malvika and Vitasta. Take us and our listeners through Bangalore and your itinerary through Bangalore, and tell us what you were up to.
So our little tour of Bangalore was over 2 days. The first day we started out at MG Road at the new metro station, and we covered places around that area. And on the second day, we realized that there are so many places around that area, we had to come back and cover the rest of them.
Okay, great.
So we met at MG Road metro station, and since we come from two different routes, so that was the meeting point. Malvika told me to not have breakfast in the morning because she had some huge breakfast plans for me.
Oh, wow.
She took me to Koshy's, and obviously Koshy's being, the best omelets that I can ever have. That was my first time I'd gone to Koshy's, and Malvika probably had been there. And
yes.
And I tried bacon omelette and mushroom omelette, and I will never be able to forget that ever in my life. And thanks to her, now I crave that every time. And now every time she says omelette in front of me, and I stare at her and I'm like, why? Why would you do this to me? We can't go to MG Road every time you say omelette. So, yeah, that was our breakfast in Koshy's.
Yeah, that's definitely true about Koshy's, because I remember as kids we used to go so often, like, so that was like one of our pit stop places to just go wherever our parents used to be like, let's eat fish and chips, like, yeah, okay, we are on the way to Koshy's. And then I remember right next to Koshy's they even opened Jewel Box under the same restaurant, more of the non-smoking version of the actual Koshy's also. So even Jewel Box, I feel their food is so amazing. I still crave for that fish Florentine, which I had eaten, I think, 20 years ago.
I crave for Koshy's bread. That's one simple thing that, it's not available everywhere. And it's like Koshy's bread in Bangalore. We wanted to take like
Absolutely,
bunch of bread loaves with us, but obviously we would look like maniacs. We didn't do that.
So something that a lot of old Bangaloreans also look back very fondly on. It's that kind of a place. And just like a little bit of history as well, that it started around 1940 as a bakery, is what I believe. And then it's gone on, and I think it's the third generation that's now running Koshy's. So after Koshy's, where do you head off to?
So after Koshy's, we headed to St. Mark's Cathedral, which is just like 5 minutes away, and it's a really quick walk.
Right.
So I've lived in Bangalore for over 25 years, and I've never actually been inside St. Mark's Cathedral. So this was a very important moment for me because we pass it so many times, and it's actually really beautiful inside.
The only thing is that we couldn't take inside pictures because it wasn't allowed. So, and we didn't know that. So we carried all our cameras and stuff. But we went there and the guard was like, you can't take cameras inside because FYI, it's not allowed. Fortunately, they had a locker and stuff on the gate. So we could keep the cameras there. And then we went inside. It's sad that we couldn't click it, but it was beautiful.
Bangalore also, some of you would be surprised that Bangalore has a number of very beautiful churches too, and St. Mark's Cathedral, right? It's one of those, and a very old church also.
Yeah, so I think at this point I would even like to mention that, like how Saif said, Bangalore does have a lot of churches. So some of them would even be, most of them are pretty much in the cantonment area where old churches is what I'm talking about. Francis Xavier's Church, Francis Xavier's Church, and then St. John's Church. A lot of them actually, when you look around, from what I know, St. John's Church was the tallest structure that was there for a very long time. Yeah. So when you could see Bangalore from far off, you could see the St. John's Church, the tower.
Another great church around this area, which we didn't actually get a chance to see, is St. Mary's Basilica.
Although we wanted to go there,
but we were a little tired.
Oh yeah, that's actually a really nice point that you pointed out, because again, Mary's Basilica is beautiful, even from like outside and inside as well, and a very busy church all the time around, so you can like practically just go anytime and visit.
Yeah, and it's one of those churches, this does happen over the other places too. They have their sermons, right? They have it in like local languages also. This one, I think St. Mary's has it in Tamil, I understand. One of those churches that has it in local languages too. But yeah, sorry to digress again. I'm sure this will keep happening from time to time.
You guys are feeling nostalgic, I think.
Yes.
So having spent some time here and unfortunately not getting a chance to take pictures, where did you head off to from St. Mark's
So
Cathedral?
our plan was to head to Chinnaswamy Stadium because it's such a big landmark. To get there, we went through Mahatma Gandhi Park, which again I had never been inside, which is surprising because it's beautiful and it's very small and it's right next to Chinnaswamy Stadium. I don't know why more people don't go there.
So when we were exploring Bangalore, I was obviously exploring because I was new to the place. I most of the times felt that Malvika is also exploring because
No, that's true.
Actually, Faiza and I
Yeah.
also are raising our hands. You
Correct.
can't see it, but that's what happens, right? You when you're locals, a lot of times you just tend to get a little
Casual
lazy,
about it.
too casual, too lazy about it, thinking, oh, it's right here. We can go whenever we want. We don't have to book flight tickets. We don't have to take holidays. We think that and we pass it on forever.
Yeah.
In our cases, it was for 20 odd years.
yeah, quite a long time.
Great. So which next place after
Swami
this?
Stadium, you said that
Yeah.
you hop on inside?
It's somewhere we used to go so much when I was a kid because my dad is a member.
Oh, good. You get to enjoy the restaurant also, right? Because I remember one of my
Yeah.
friends' dad was a member, so we used to be happy whenever he used to invite us.
So this time, and usually it's so hard to get inside, like the security guard saying member, like show me your card. So this time nothing was happening. The clubhouse was empty and I just said member and he was like, go in, that's fine.
Okay, lucky you.
Malvika and I were constantly thinking that she didn't have the card with her dad's card, the membership card. She
Yeah.
didn't have that with her, but she had a card number with her, which could take us in. So we were constantly thinking that we'll call her dad and tell him to stay on hold and he can let us in and etc. etc. And she just said member and he's like, okay, go. And we both looked at each other. We entered and then we laughed. I thought it shouldn't look like we are laughing on their faces. Right? So,
Right.
Probably one of those rare days he did not fight with his wife, I think, the security guard.
I am happy for him, I think.
So did you guys spend some time there at the clubhouse?
So the minute we decided to walk into the stadium and walk on the pitch, it started raining.
Oh, Lord.
So we we thought that okay, we would be able to spend time on outside the pitch. We'll not go in there, but we'll stand there. But so we were making a vlog. We were making a video. And there was already a construction going on, but they were quiet. The moment we started the video, they all started banging things and the construction started. So Chinnaswamy Stadium was a success for us to visit because we couldn't go on the pitch, we couldn't stand outside, so we just saw it from far and we left. And okay, we just touched it, we were here.
Yeah, but like Malvika mentioned as well at the beginning, one of those iconic places in Bangalore, right?
Yeah.
Obviously more so for the cricket lovers that we are. And now I have to try and scratch my head when I think who plays from Bangalore. But we had a time when we had a lot of local players in the Indian cricket team as well. One of those iconic matches as well was that quarterfinal of the 1996 World Cup between India and Pakistan when Venkatesh Prasad also from Karnataka, right? He actually bowled out Amir Suhail in that match. So one of those iconic matches. And if you can catch a trip to a game in Chinnaswamy Stadium, obviously it would be awesome, given that IPL matches are also now played. So yeah, important place. It's great that you guys could go there, and very very close by, conveniently walkable also from MG Road and the other places. So from Chinnaswamy, where do you guys head off to?
So we headed to Cubbon Park, which is also right across the road from Chinnaswamy Stadium. It's an iconic place.
Yeah, and it's so much history also, Cubbon Park.
Yeah, Cubbon Park, one of the bigger green lungs of Bangalore, right?
Yeah.
Only few remaining, I guess, along with Lal Bagh. It's a huge park, around 300 acres is what I believe. It's pretty big. Yeah,
Right.
it's pretty big, and even in a historical context also, right?
Yeah, and I'm pretty happy, at least like with all the land encroachment and all happening, they've made sure that Cubbon Park and Lal Bagh and a few other parks are still, thank God, the BBMP is taking care of them. So yeah, these are like there. So talking a little, did you guys like the park? First, I want to hear your viewpoint about Cubbon Park. How was it?
I did. I liked it. Yeah. It was my first time when I went there, but it was quiet. It's huge. I mean,
Right.
when I hear park, I hear like a small track or, people sitting on the bench or jogging. But this is huge.
Yeah,
Everyone was
absolutely.
running, apart from me and Malvika, but everyone was running.
No. I mean, the park also attracts couples.
Right.
I mean, that's
Oh, yeah.
that's a large portion of people.
So they're not just nature lovers.
Lovers.
Yeah,
Period.
lovers also are there. We wanted to sit somewhere, okay, but the benches were already occupied and we didn't want to sit next to a couple for obvious reasons.
Right.
Yeah. So we instead walked and left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, talking a little about Cubbon Park, it has a lot to offer. First of all, the greenery, like a huge park, as Malvika and Vitasta just pointed out. Very big park. You have certain parts where sometimes traffic is allowed. So just be careful in certain roads. And apart from that, it has a lot of really cool statues, I would say, that date back to the British era. Different statues of different kings and queens. The Victorian statue, that is the Queen Victoria statue, King Edward statue, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Then it even has the Central Library, the Bangalore Central Library, that is there, built during Vodayars.
Sheshadri Iyer.
Sheshadri Iyer, yes.
Yeah,
Right.
one
Built
of
by,
the
yeah.
divans of Mysore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's even known as like the founder of modern Bengaluru, Sheshadri Iyer, because he's done a lot of work to improve Bangalore. So yeah, with the Central Library also is one place to visit when you're
Yeah, and the park
in the
itself
park.
dates back to 1870. I think it was built quite a while ago and
Right.
named after, I think, Mark Cubbon as one of the, what was he, commissioner? Yeah, commissioner of the state of Mysore at that time. And like Faiza pointed out, a lot of important statues as well. There's a statue of King Chamaraja Wadiyar as well within
yes,
the statue, along
right.
with the statue of Queen Victoria and the beautiful red state Central Library. So it's not just nature, there's a lot of other stuff also, and ideal time to visit there obviously would be like go there early in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever, and walk around. It's pretty cool and nice. There's a lot of people around that time too, so that's good.
Yeah, and a little history about the park. I don't know, somehow at least I feel it's a little dark history rather when you look at the history of Cubbon Park, because it was technically built, or the park was established as a wall to divide the British settlements of Bangalore compared to the Pete settlements, the original settlements of Bangalore. So this was this green belt where nobody was allowed to cross without a permit.
Yeah, apparently you needed a permit to actually cross over to the side of Bangalore. This was the side where most of the British officers and their families and everything lived.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not very beautiful, but that's also a part of the
history, I think.
that
Yes.
it was built as a way of segregating the locals from the Britishers.
Right. And even like a way to segregate, to make sure that diseases were not crossed over, because even during the Bangalore,
Break out of the plague.
yeah,
and
the
everything.
plague and other diseases also, they did not want whatever was there in the Pete area come to the other side. Yeah, so that's like a tiny bit of history, but yeah.
Yes, sorry, I keep saying sorry in this episode that we try to steal your thunder a little bit, but we just can't help the Bangalorean getting out of us. So carry on, guys. Where did you head off to from Cubbon Park, or did you do more in Cubbon Park actually?
Yeah, so another thing that we all forgot to mention about Cubbon Park is that there's a lot of fascinating museums inside the park. There's the Vishwesvaraya Museum, the Government Museum, the Venkatappa Art Gallery.
Yep.
So we headed to the museums after being foiled in our plans to find somewhere to sit. We thought we'd at least go see some museums.
That's great. So did you check out all the three of them?
Yeah, so first we headed to the Vishwesvaraya Museum, which again, I remember it so clearly from school trips when I was a kid. We would always go to the Vishwesvaraya Museum and there'd be scientific experiments and things that you could do. You could press buttons and things would go up and down, and it was so cool.
And it's not only that, a kid gets bored there and he has just things to see. He can actually practically, press buttons and see how it works, and he can play around.
It's actually one of the best museum to take a kid along and go, because there's a lot of things that a kid can do, even from tiny stuff like understanding how a pulley works to astronomical stuff. So it's pretty,
And it's not only the museum there. You can go to the planetarium and catch shows.
Awesome.
So after this, which the next
one was
museum?
the next?
Because it was our luck, we went on Muharram, and we had planned to see the Government Museum and the Venkatappa Art Gallery, and they were both closed.
Oh Lord. Oh.
Yeah. So we planned to come back the next day just to see those.
Oh, okay.
Okay, maybe you could just share those experiences now in that case.
Yeah. So the Government Museum is, again, it's right next to the Visvesvaraya Museum. And it has like a bunch of galleries where they have historical and cultural stuff related to Karnataka and the history of the southern region of India.
Absolutely. I think one of the... I forget the name of that inscription. There is a stone inscription here that's like really, really old and popular. This really dates back to like a few centuries, right?
Yeah. It's one of the oldest Kannada inscriptions.
Exactly. I forget the name. I think it's Halmidi or something on those lines. That's the inscription.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a few centuries ago. I can't remember the exact dates of this, but yeah, a long, long time ago. And maybe at this point, I'll quickly touch upon a little bit. We've do a quick call out for our previous episode on Bangalore we did as well. We covered another episode on old Bengaluru, where we covered the history of Bangalore and when it started out, obviously by the founder Kempe Gowda, right? Kempe Gowda 1. It dates back to 1537. The city or Bangalore, as it started, dates back to 1537. But since then, there's been like a few discoveries of these inscriptions that like go back to 7th century, around 7th century, I think. The earliest inscriptions.
890 is when there was this inscription that dates back to 890.
Right.
So so that's almost like 1,000 years.
Yeah, for
So a little history about Bangalore in that way. So earlier there were a lot of individual settlements, but it was definitely Kempegowda I who was a Vijayanagar
feudatory ruler of the Vijayanagar,
who came and who united the current Bangalore that we know, or Bengaluru that we know. And even with respect to the name, Bengaluru, we are still not sure about which story actually fits the version, but there are different stories. One of it I would like to call out is the one that king, there's a problem about that, because we're not so sure which king was it, whether it was Kempegowda or it was another king, King Balla, so who was tired, and a old lady offered him boiled beans, and that's how the name Bengaluru literally means
Bendakaluru, I think. Yeah, that's what...
boiled beans. But I am diverting from the topic.
But if you're interested in that part, right, the old Bangalore part of it, there's an episode we'll link in the podcast description as well.
It's called Old Bengaluru.
Old Bengaluru. I think we covered a bit of that.
Yeah, okay. And one more thing, there's a toy train in Cubbon Park. Again, I'm not sure if the timings, but it's still running is what I've heard. For kids who are interested, toy train also is there in Cubbon Park. Okay, guys, I'm sorry.
So next time you don't find a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, next time you don't find a seat, just jump onto the train, Malvika and Vitasta.
Oh, no, not yet.
But yeah, after the Government Museum, where do you guys go to?
So again, right there is the Sri K. Venkatappa Art Gallery, which basically just displays of like art and art equipment and stuff. And the ticket entry is free if you paid for the ticket for the Government Museum, so we thought, why not?
Definitely, and I think definitely worth it to call out, right? All these places, the art gallery, the museum and everything, very, very affordable tickets, even now.
It's 10 rupees. It's 10 rupees for both.
Yeah, see, $10. Okay, who's the art lover here?
I guess that's me.
Did you enjoy it, Malvika?
Enjoyed.
Would be an understatement.
Yes, I would like to, talk on her behalf.
Please go
here.
ahead.
Yes.
So we went inside first of all, Malvika is a cleanliness freak. Okay. not she's not only a cleanliness freak, she has an OCD, and she will kill me when she'll to say this, but I'm sorry, I just have to put it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, we went inside the Venkatappa Art Gallery, and it was super clean and super white. Okay, first of all, though, she got turned on there only, and then there were brushes and stuff that, art gallery and paintings. And she started telling me about the paintings and what kind of a painting it is.
They're ancient brushes.
Ancient brushes, right?
Like historic brushes.
Historic
That's
brushes,
cool.
of course, Malvik.
Yeah, okay,
Another thing
let's
to add.
head over to the next place that you guys visited.
Yeah, awesome. So after this, after seeing the trifecta of museums, where do you guys head off to?
So after being disappointed on day one that the last two museums are not open, we were hungry again. After we walked like all around Carbon Park, right?
Right.
So we were quite hungry. And so we went to the only place, which is on Museum Road.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, and it's famous for like its steaks and burgers and stuff.
Yeah, and the apple pie.
Yes, the apple pie is amazing too. Or if you don't eat meat, they have great salads too.
Right, of course.
Now, having like refueled a little bit there, what was the plan for the rest of the day?
So after this, we had planned to go back to the museums and see them, but that wasn't happening. So we headed to the Bangalore Palace.
Nice.
Okay, nice. You probably had to hail a ride or something, right?
Yeah, so the Bangalore Palace is it's not connected via metro, and it's quite far from MG Road, so we had to take an auto. Yeah, the tickets are pretty expensive. So it's 250 for Indians and 480 for foreigners. And they charge like, it's 250 rupees for a ticket for a person, but it's 300 rupees for a camera. Any camera.
Oh, Lord.
Even if it's your phone.
So, moral of the story is that cameras are more precious than people, right? That's what that means.
We live in a world of influencers.
Right.
Yeah.
But it definitely is. I mean, it's worth paying for a camera. I think if obviously from the outside it's really beautiful and everything. It's not like a big palace. You can't really compare it to the Mysore Palace or anything. It's not that big, but again, it's a nice little palace. And it dates back to, again, 1800s. I think 1870s or something is when it was built. And Chamarajendra Vadeyar, I think when he was a minor, he was there that he spent most of his time, and that's when it was built. Did you get time? So you spent some time going inside and checking out the palace as well, right? It's beautiful inside.
Yeah. So Bangalore Palace, it's very famously inspired by Windsor Castle. At least on the outside. On the inside, it's nothing like it. It's like it's got Spanish-inspired rooms. It's got like these lavish gilded mirrors and these like golden painted rooms and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, a small palace, so it won't take too much time. It's just that Darbar Hall, I think that's what it's called on the inside.
Yeah.
You definitely have to check that out. But definitely you can spend some time there. And there's a lot of, like you mentioned at the beginning too, there's a lot of open spaces or I think, what are they called now?
Yeah, pretty much like weddings keep happening,
all the
functions keep
weddings,
happening.
concerts, etc. happen in the vicinity, right?
Yeah, but there are different gates to get to them.
A lot of those happen there actually. But I think technically speaking, even that place, right, a lot of litigation, a lot of land dispute because of I think the changing of ownership, something messed up, and it's still under litigation actually, but those places are still rented out, and I think the owners, whoever the owners are making decent money out of it. And what was the plan now, because you've kind of moved away from the initial part where you were exploring, right? All of that was walkable. Now we have come a little way off to Bangalore Palace. Where do you head off to from here?
So after going to the Bangalore Palace, and we spent quite a bit of time there and in the area around, and it was a weird day. It had been very sunny and rainy, so we were a little bit exhausted. So we decided that was it. We were done for the first day.
Oh, okay. And this, as we said, there's a lot more to explore in Bangalore. But the second day, you said you covered this with the span of 2 days, right?
Yeah, so the second day we started off with the museums like that we mentioned before, which had been closed because it was Moharram. And so we saw the Government Museum and the Venkatappa Art Gallery. So after that, we headed to, again, a different area. We headed to the Bangalore Fort.
Oh, okay.
So the Bangalore Fort is a little bit to the south. It's near the KR market. So the thing about Bangalore fort is it was a huge fort, but when the British first started building stuff, they started taking stones from parts of Bangalore fort. The parts of Bangalore fort that were in ruin. They started taking stones from it. So the part of it that remains is very tiny.
Right.
So it seems like it should be a huge fort and that you're not being allowed to see all of it, but it's only just a tiny bit of a huge fort.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. And just a little bit of a background about this as well, right? The Bangalore fort in its original form was built back in the day when Bangalore started, right? Kempe
Yeah,
Gowda
Kempe
started.
Gowda.
Yeah.
That's when he built the fort. And that fort, it was a mud fort. It wasn't even in this form. It's stone now. It was a mud fort back then. And that covered most of the parts. It had like the city was within the fort. So as forts were built back in the day, right? It was a huge fort with parts of the city within the fort in the Pet area, famously, right? All of that was closer to the fort. But I think it was Hyder Ali in the 1700s sometime, yeah, when he was kind of ruling the place. He replaced that mud fort with a stone fort, and later on in the 1790s, I think, when the British finally defeated Tipu Sultan, right? That's when the fort got damaged and they took it over. And what you see now is only a part of the fort that's remaining. And as Malvika mentioned, parts of the ruins were taken and used to build other parts of Bangalore, a lot of other heritage buildings today that are in Bangalore. So the fort in
Yeah.
itself was pretty huge, but now, yeah, a very small portion remains. And even like Faz and I visited it on that birthday
Birthday.
tour that we did of Bangalore. I mean, I've gone there a couple of other times too, but the most recent one was then. Not too much to see in the sense that it's not a lot of walking or anything within the fort. It's pretty small. You can cover it pretty quickly. But I think in one way gives you a part of history, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Bangalore kind
Yeah.
of started
Yeah.
from that point on. So that way it's very significant. And I would definitely urge people who are visiting Bangalore to check the fort out too.
Yeah, okay, so after Bangalore Fort, which next? I mean, what's your next pit stop?
So you were saying, right, that Bangalore fort was expanded by Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan. So the next place he visited is actually Tipu Sultan's summer palace.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. It's pretty close
It's
by
also-
walkable distance
yeah,
from there.
it's right there. So we walk down to the Tipu Sultan summer palace.
So I have a funny story to add add to this. So we went to Tipu Sultan Summer Palace, and the entire palace is made of wood. The artwork is beautiful. It's just wonderful to see this. But then we were passing a fire extinguisher, not actually the gas extinguisher. They were the sand extinguisher, and the buckets were empty. So
Oh, Lord.
In a palace made of wood.
Wood.
Oh, the irony.
I mean, you enter the palace, the walls are made of wood, the stairs are wood, the balcony is wood, the pillars are wood, but the fire extinguisher bucket is empty. It was really funny to see that.
Irony. Okay.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's a very nice, again, just don't go by, it's a palace, it'll be huge and all that. It's a small palace, but I think it's very beautiful and very different from a lot of other like structures that are called as palaces that you might have seen around. As Malvika also mentioned, that it's completely built out of wood, and it's very like a dark color and a hue to it also, right? It's all
the
built of teak
colour
is what I
theme.
understand.
Yeah.
But it has a few beautiful inscriptions, paintings, and everything on the
Wall
inside. And
paintings,
yeah, and it has a second level as well, right? It's not just like a ground
Yeah,
level thing.
yeah.
It has like a first floor too. You can go up the stairs and check that out. Apparently, that section was for the women. That's what it was built for.
Yeah, and
top
you can
section.
still see the screens that they use, like because they were in Parda.
Right.
You can see like the delicate screens of woodwork.
And very beautiful palace and that way. And pretty cool also, like even on a hot summer day when you get inside that space, it's nice and cool.
Yeah,
in
I
a
think
way.
that was
The entire
original
concept of-
idea
yeah, okay,
that it
sorry.
was built with. But yeah, it's like very short walk from the Bangalore fort, and you can quickly spend some time there if
Yeah,
you're
and-
planning on.
Yeah, so yeah, the Tipu Sultan Palace, Summer
Yeah, you
Palace
can
is
definitely
pretty cool
spend, and
there.
it's like a small museum now, right, Malvika? That's what
Yeah,
it is.
inside
Yeah,
they have some of Tipu Sultan's stuff, and they have some cannons, and
exactly.
it's a
some-
small museum, but it's very interesting.
Right. Yeah, the place itself is pretty small, and within that, the lower level has like a small museum with some clothes and stuff like that. So definitely do check this out. Very, very different from the initial part, the places that we were discussing, right? And
Yeah.
again, it does come down to that segregation, right? That part of town towards Cubbon Park, it was all where the Britishers and their officers and everybody lived, and this part of Bangalore was where more of the locals lived. This is the Pete area and the surroundings. This is where most of the locals lived. So that segregation existed back then, and it's all developed now, but still you can feel the difference in the kinds of structures and everything around the area. So I think that's a great little walk to give you some perspective of the different parts of Bangalore also, and it's wonderful that you guys could cover this all by walk and over a weekend, and you got to experience so many different aspects that Bangalore has to offer, right? Now,
Yeah.
was this one of your last stops for the day, or where do you head off after this?
Uh, After this, we went back to the MG roadside to have lunch. But before that, I quickly want to talk about two other places that we visited
Uh-huh.
on the morning of the third day, because this is another thing I realized we have to do and we hadn't got the chance to do. We went to MTR in Lal Bagh.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because you can't talk about Bangalore without talking about MTR and Lal Bagh.
Of course. Yes. Yeah.
So MTR, or Mawali Tiffin Rooms, is like one of the most famous places to have South Indian food in Bangalore, especially breakfast.
And it's a pretty busy place for breakfast. So I think
Yeah.
you need to make sure that you're there to get your spot. Right? Yeah. So MTR is pretty famous for that. I think, and even it's like pretty old also, right? Like early 1900s is when it started.
Yeah, it's
1920s.
and do they still serve in
Silver
no,
plate.
yeah, there used
Yeah,
to be a
they
time
do.
they used to serve silver plates. Do they still do that?
No. Now they serve in ceramic plates.
Yeah.
Lunch they serve in big thalis. The only thing they gave us in silver was the coffee.
Okay, so because when I had gone, this is how many years? Like 4.5, 5 years back. Even then, I think for lunch, again, the thali was like huge, like so many things, and they're pouring ghee over it, like as though they're just getting it for free, and like, take, like that. So back then also, I think those plates, or maybe now they've changed it, were silver, and we were so fascinated. We were like, yeah, this is like the real MTR feeling, the silver plates. Yeah, so. And then, yeah, the places, when you go inside it, don't expect it to be like really big and fancy and all. It's like 3 floors, I think.
Yeah.
3 floors, and then the very old architecture inside is like that old houses kind, but the food is amazing, like vegetarian yummy food. Yeah, so I think at this point I would even like to call out the other historical or the iconic landmarks of Bangalore that are around food. Just like 1 second, Saif was like staring at me. Okay, so one is for dosa places, the Bene Dosa is CTR around Malleshwaram. Then you have Vidyarthi Bhavan, amazing dosas, amazing vadas, bhajis and all that. And a lot of places around VV Puram also, where if you are dosa or a idli lover, you can go ahead and explore and eat
Yeah, what's
yummy
it called?
stuff.
Cow
VV
gully?
Puram,
I
yes,
mean,
VV
the
Puram Cow
slang-
Gully.
Yeah.
Tindi bidi.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Tindi bidi, yeah.
So yeah, those are the places that, again, like if you are a dosa lover or idli lover, you can just go explore. Like or even like just order a plate of bhaji and enjoy your coffee with it.
Yeah, vegetarians will have absolutely no problem in Bangalore, of course. But yeah, these are some of the highlights that you have to visit if you're in Bangalore and you're trying out the food. These are some of the places you have to visit.
Yeah.
And
And
obviously,
and if not, like if you want like those high-end restaurants, there's no dearth of those also. You just go to any area, you will find like really cool. Even like head over to Indranagar or Koromangala, MG Road and all. Like you'll get a lot of pubs and restaurants and bars and all that also. So I think Bangalore offers a lot in that way. Like the spectrum is pretty broad, like it just goes beyond. Like yeah, I think one entire lifetime also is not enough to try every restaurant, and there'll be more popping up. So yeah, touch wood, it's good in that way.
Yeah, so you were talking about Vidyarthi Bhavan, right? So after MTR, we went for a walk in Lal Bagh, and luckily for us, we were hungry enough to eat something again. So I suggested we go to Vidyarthi Bhavan.
Awesome.
And again, I don't think Vitasta knew what she was in for, because she was like, we'll have one small dosa and we'll go. But Vidyarthi Bhavan doesn't do small dosas.
Exactly. And even the smallest is like pretty drenched in ghee and butter. So you're
Again,
like,
here also it's
exactly.
just-
Yeah. So talking a little back about Lal Bagh. Lal Bagh, again, a lot of history, established by Hyder Ali and then beautified by Tipu Sultan. And I think it was only in 1800s, maybe later, like after like a lot of years, that one of the Britishers there realized that there's this piece of land that is like a garden, and close to 4,000 different variety of plants were figured out. There were around 4,000 different types of plants that were there in the garden that time, that were not originally from the land. So then the Britishers took over the Lal Bagh and started investing time and beautified it again. So now also Lal Bagh has a lot of beautiful plants in it. Some plants that are really old. There's a big huge tree that is, I think, close to some 300 or 200-year-old tree that's there. Beautiful statues of the Wadeyars. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. And bandstand, the glass house again is like, yeah, the glass house itself was like not made in India. It was made in parts in England and shipped all over part by part to India, and it was put together in Bangalore. So yeah, a lot of history in Lal Bagh and a beautiful place.
Another point I think you missed is that the famous Lal Bagh rock.
Right, yeah,
So
yeah,
it
yeah.
has a structure on top.
Yes.
It's like a little temple-like thing, which is supposed to be one of the original boundaries of Bangalore built by
Right.
Kempe Gowda.
Right. So the rock dates back to it's around 2 million years
I think
old.
it's not more than 2 million.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was one of the first structures when the Earth was getting formed, right? They
Right.
have some like biological name for the rock also, but a few million years old is
Yeah.
what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course the structure on top of it is one of the four towers that Kempe 2 created. So when we talk about the old Bangalore, so there was this Pete region, the Chickpete and the the Chickpete and Doddapete intersections. So to mark the boundary of the Pete area, the old Bangalore area, 4 different towers were created around, like check posts, or I don't know, maybe like 4 different towers that marked the boundary. One of them is the one that you can see on Lal Bagh. So they say the structure is not the original structure, but it is built in the same fashion how the original structure was built. So this was a beautiful structure right there. The other 3 are, one is in Mekri Circle, then there's another one that is near Alsur, and the fourth one is the Yalhanka one. So 4 different structures that you can go around seeing that technically marked the boundaries of Bangalore, old Bengaluru.
It's amazing. I didn't actually know the Lal Bagh rock was so old. All I think of when I think of Lal Bagh rock is uncles doing yoga exercises on it.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think now they've added some new additions where they've man-made waterfall.
I don't know if you guys got a chance to see that. There's like
that's a beautiful
waterfall.
Yeah. And then I think, every time during Independence Day and Republic Day, there's a beautiful flower show that happens that everybody has to visit. The best time would be go early morning so that it's not too crowded. And the theme is pretty cool every year. They come up with a different theme and walk around it, and you can see some beautiful plants and flowers and all there. So yeah, Lal Bagh has a lot of stuff happening. It's nice in that way. Bangalore has a lot more. Just now, like we were just discussing, a lot with respect to temples. Also, ISKCON temple, one of the largest temple in the whole world, exists in Bangalore.
The biggest ISKCON temple,
the biggest ISKCON temple is there. Then a lot of really old temples. There's a temple that is from the 16th century, a bull temple. A Nandi temple on the Bull Temple Road, Then we even have a temple in Alsur that is a Someshwara temple. So anybody who doesn't get a chance to go to Hampi and experience the beautiful Vijayanagara architecture can just go to Alsur and see the beautiful temple. So it was actually built by the Cholas, but then beautified by the Vijayanagara rulers. So it just takes you back to a different time altogether. Then even with respect to places, there are a lot more places, the Pethe area and everything. So yeah, Bangalore has a lot to offer. If any of the listeners wants to know a long itinerary for maybe a month, I can send it to y'all. Write to us.
Yeah, another place you really shouldn't miss is the Gavi Gangadhareshwara cave temple.
Oh, this is the Gavipuram
Cave
temples, right?
Yeah, in Gavipuram. That's on another time I had also taken Vitasta here. It's a really surreal experience because once you go inside, it's a cave and it's so small, but there's always 200 people sitting inside.
Although when we went, it was there were not much people, so we could actually see the temple and we could go around it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I bumped my head twice. So yeah, since it's a cave and it's
But if you're claustrophobic,
don't
Right.
don't go at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very different from these other temples that we just mentioned also, right? Just solidifies that point we were making at the beginning that there is a lot of things to see and do and eat in Bangalore. So check it out at your own leisure. We gave you just a flavor of what Bangalore has to offer, the kinds of experiences that Bangalore has to offer. And maybe it's a good segue for Malvika and Vidasta for you guys also to tell a little bit more about Travel.Earth, right? That's where both of you, that's who both of you work with at the moment. And they have a great set of travel experiences they curate as well. So do you want to shed some light quickly on Travel.Earth too?
Travel.Earth basically is a online travel publication. So we curate content in the form of articles as well as videos. And we not only cover the destinations as listicles, we talk about experiences, personal experiences, and people write for us. They tell their own experiences. We not only tell how beautiful the place is, but we also tell you that how to reach that particular place, what are the challenges, what you face. What things can you take along to a particular place? Basically, everything you need to know about traveling to a particular destination.
So, and also if you like such stories where fun things happen to us, we also have things where we visit festivals. Like recently, I visited the Mysore Dasara festival, and that was an experience. If you think Bangalore is crowded, it's nothing compared to Mysore at Dasara.
Right, definitely.
After reading her Mysore article, I actually started respecting Koramangala traffic. This is nothing. You can't complain about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a different world altogether during Dasara and Mysore, right? So, lot of such wonderful experiences that are curated on Travel.Earth. So please do check it out, and we will include links to the publication and the website as well. So listeners can go check out Travel.Earth conveniently through the show notes or the description of the podcast. And to wrap this up, we would love to thank you a lot, and thank you for your patience for sharing your stories, and more so for listening to our stories as well about Bangalore as we kind of get nostalgic and roll back those years and roll back those memories. So thanks a bunch, Vitasta and Malvika, for sharing this wonderfully with us. And
thank you so much. It was really beautiful to listen to Bangalore's touristy perspective from your viewpoint, and it was really nice to read your blog also. Thanks a lot for sharing your story on the Musafir Stories.
Thank you so much for having us.
that was yet another great episode of the Musafir Stories. If you guys like the show, please subscribe to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Audioboom, Savan, Pocket Casts, Castbox, Stitcher, or any other podcasting app available on iOS or Android. Please do leave us a review on iTunes. It goes a long way in the show's discoverability. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We go by the handle The Musafir Stories. Or, if it suits you, you could email us at themusafirstories@gmail.com or visit our website at www.themusafirstories.com for more information. All of these links will be made available in the show notes section of each episode. So here's to more traveling, sharing, and inspiring. Stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, happy travels and goodbye.